Wednesday. How's everybody doing today? I hope the sun is shining and is beautimous where you are, because it sure is here. Although I'm downstairs painting right now and it's chilly. I have what I call my granny sweater on. I wear a little cardi when I'm chilly down here, and I actually have my little under my table heater on. I have it on low, but I have it on. It's quite cold down here. Although outside it's in the 80s, the sun is shining, so hopefully I can maybe take a little walk this afternoon and enjoy it. I've come on for a couple reasons today. First of all, I want to let y'all know Asriel found his mommy, and I have a funny story. So his mommy wanted to know the size clothing he had from his photo shoot. So I decided I would look at every piece of clothing, and I sat him up to look at the tag, and when I laid him back, this is what their hands did, and I burst out laughing, because for those of you who know the pull my finger game, that's what came. I even said out loud, I'm like, oh, are y'all playing the pull my finger game? Oh, I had a good laugh about that. So thank you, everybody, for all your lovely comments on Asriel. On Instagram, I have not gotten over yet to comment here on YouTube, or to reply to my comments, but I had several lovely comments on Instagram, so I am hoping to catch up. Let me just move his hand down now. They're not going to play that game anymore. I'm hoping to catch up on my YouTube comments this afternoon. Let me see. I've moved a couple babies, and you'll see why in a minute. Lucy Ray is here snuggling up with Zolani, and I think she likes the feel of the ragdoll's hair. Do you like that, Lucy Ray? She's like, Zolani, wake up. I want to play with you. And then I moved, Azrea is over here snuggling up with the Queen. Don't they look so sweet together? And the Queen did not even notice when I moved her over a little bit. She's lost in dreamland. So those two are off together in dreamland. And everyone else is in their normal spot. Nobody's been changed yet. I need to do some changing videos here in the near future. Look at that funny guy. Oh, I need to reposition the frog. I think I'm about 98% sure on that frog's name, y'all. Maybe in my next video I'll have it for you. Anyway, so the reason I've moved Azrea and Lucy Ray is because I have a work in progress to show y'all. I've been working on Hattie. Hattie is a Cassie Peak kit. And that was Cassie Brace's name before she was married. So this is, I don't think it has a year on her neck. It just says C Peak, and it has a little tiny heart next to Peak. But no, it doesn't have a year. She's coming along very nicely. I'm working right now on her details, and we got a ways to go on those yet. I've done 2 layers of detailing. I've done her first layer of very faint eyebrows. That's my little base layer. I don't even think it's going to show up. And then that's my guide that I follow as I build them up, as I do all the details. I've not done any. I've done a little bit of crease work and some light shading on her soles and palms, but those have quite a few more layers to go. I've done the base of the nails, so we're getting there. But this is who I've been working on. I did not do any painting last week while my mom was here, so hopefully I'll be able to finish her relatively soon, and then of course she'll be getting hair, and then I'll be picking who I'm working on next, so I can be painting the next baby while she gets hair. What about you, Mr. Atticus? He's so sweet. Alright, I'm also coming on today because I would like to participate in a tag. I told you all the other day there was another tag that I wanted to do, and this is actually a relatively new channel. The channel's name is Mia Maria's Nursery. And she has commented on my videos for a little while, and she recently commented that she has started a channel. So I popped over, I've watched a few of her videos. She is also an artist, and she has started it's a 10-question tag for reborn artists. And I told her I would participate, and I finally have time. So here I am, and welcome to the community, and welcome to anybody else who's new to making YouTube videos. I hope you're having fun on your journey. But here we go. Let's see. Number 1. And I will link her channel down below to the original of this tag video, as well as put the 10 questions down below for any other fellow artists who would like to participate. Number 1. What is your nursery name and why did you choose that name? My nursery name is Kymberlee's Cocoon. Let me show you this beautiful KC up here that Liz made for me. Kymberlee's Cocoon. I originally used to sell my craft work on Etsy as Creations by Kymberlee, and Creations was spelled with a K. And when I started making reborn babies, I left it like that because I was selling on Etsy. But then I thought, you know what? I wanted to keep my art, my yarn art and other things like that, headbands and stuff, separate from the babies. And so I came up with Kymberlee's Cocoon. I wanted to keep my name in it just like I had for Creations by Kymberlee. And I chose Kymberlee's Cocoon because to me the whole process of reborning is much like the metamorphosis of a caterpillar to a butterfly. We get a blank kit. That's the caterpillar. And then in the cocoon is the whole time we're like painting and baking and rooting and everything, and then you have the beautiful baby at the end, just like the beautiful butterfly. So that's how I came up with my name. My business cards do say Kymberlee's Cocoon, a division of Creations by Kymberlee, because that was my first name, and for people who knew me as that on Etsy, I didn't want to lose that name. So, but Kymberlee's Cocoon is my reborn nursery name, as well as my, you know, what I paint under. Number 2, how long well, I guess that's the same thing, right? Number 2, how long have you been reborning? Also, if you sell your reborns, how long have you been selling? I have been painting, it'll be 4 years this summer. So almost 4 years. Was it in June or July? I want to say I took that class in June in North Carolina. So it'll be 4 years. And I came home from that class and right away started painting. And I gifted my first baby. And then my second baby, when I took it to the post office to be weighed, which I had my first baby as well, and she was so fascinated by the babies, she wanted to adopt my second baby. So I sold that baby to her, and I've been selling ever since. So pretty much right away. So almost 4 years as well. Number 2, do you do this full time? Do you have another job? Are you in another profession either now or before reborning? I do not do this full time. I run a parent consulting business as well. So I do both of those in tandem. I have several clients that I work with over, you know, phone calls, Skype, other means of communication, email, etc., etc. My home comes before my reborning. I will not let my taking care of my family and household come after reborning. So on the days I do paint, I make sure I've done all for those of you who've watched my channel for a long time, you know this. I have certain chores I do on certain days. So those always come before my reborning. If I did this full time, I think I'd probably be able to make more babies, but no, I do not do it full time. I don't know how many hours a week. I've never like sat down. It's different every week how many hours I'm able to put in. Prior to my doing this, I was a nanny for over 20 years, and before that, I was a Montessori preschool teacher for 5 years. 4, if you had to pick one sculptor that you could only reborn from the rest of your reborn career, who would it be? Y'all know I love Bonnie Brown very, very much. I love her ability to create different looking sculpts. Only one. I would have to go with Bonnie Brown. I'm torn because I also love Marita Winters. There are so many fabulous sculptors, there really are, and I'm somebody who, y'all know I'm very picky about who I'll paint. There have been a couple recent Bonnie Brown kits that I've not acquired because I just don't have a vision for those babies. That's where the downfall would be for me, because if I could only be painting from one sculptor. Because some of the sculptors that I like produce only one kit a year or one every couple years. At least with Bonnie Brown, I would be able to get a kit or two every year. I think it would make it be very limited if I could only paint from one sculptor, because then you'd be doing the same baby several times, and I don't really do that. I've painted Saskia twice. I've painted Asriel twice. I've painted Raleigh, my Zipporah. I've painted Raleigh twice. Heavenly I've painted twice. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. I don't do a lot of duplicates. I've never done 3 of any kit. So by having only one sculptor I could paint from, you know, Bonnie Brown typically puts out a couple kits a year. At least I wouldn't be, you know, stuck with one kit, new kit. I'll say Bonnie Brown. That was a long way of answering that. Number 5, do you take customs? If no, then why? And I'll skip the part about yes. No, I do not take customs. I pondered it at the very, very beginning. In my mind, I wrestled with how would I be able to create from my hands what was in somebody else's mind. But I had pondered giving it a go, and at one point early on, I was showing some works in progress on Instagram of a baby I was working on. And somebody on there wanted that baby. And I think it was the first time I had somebody interested in a baby before it was finished. And she was in love with the baby. She loved the baby at the point I had in that photo. And I had veined that baby to be a darker baby. So the veins were very prominent. And so she's like, I love this baby, and can you add a birthmark, and can you stop right now? And I thought, well, okay, I've never known. My mistake was I didn't take any money, and I should have. But I ended up taking, she didn't ask me to do this, but I couldn't leave the veins as they were. So I spent that weekend stripping the baby and repainting the baby with lighter veins to that point, and then adding the birthmark, and then she decided she didn't want the baby. Now the baby did find a mommy, which all my, you know, I believe if I finish a baby and it sits here for, you know, look at my little pixie girl. She sat here for a year, over a year and a half, I think. They find their mommy. I don't stress about that stuff. I mean, I believe that baby would have found its mommy, you know, either way, which indeed he did. But that's when I decided, you know what, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to have somebody dictating to me exactly where to put this and where to put that, and, you know, how many freckles and how many, you know, I want a birthmark and I want, you know, this much hair of that color and that style. I just can't work. For me, that takes away the art of it. For me, it takes away the freedom. It also takes away the flexibility, because you're then working on a timetable. And it just doesn't work for me. I know there are a lot of custom people who take customs, and that's wonderful, because there's a huge clientele for that. I do narrow my clientele by not taking customs, but it's just not something I'm comfortable doing, and so no, I do not. Number 6, do you prefer to create rooted or painted hair babies? Probably 95% of my babies have rooted hair, maybe even more than that. I have created one baby with painted hair. That was the Tate sculpt. And I have a couple babies that have combi hair. My Saffron and Sapphira, my Heavenly kits, these twins, they have combi hair. And then I have a few babies that have like a painted hairline. But for the most part, my babies have rooted hair. Y'all know, I am all about the hair and the clothes. Hair is so important to me. And if I could take this head of hair on Zolani and put it on my head, the joy bubble I would have. Although it wouldn't look right on me, because I did, back in the 80s, I did go to one of those places where they, you know, put your picture on a computer and show you what you look like with your dream hairdos. And yeah, me with dark hair did not look beautiful, but I tell you what, you know, in heaven, I'm going to have that beautiful head of jet black curly hair with some darker skin. I just know it. Anyway, I'm just teasing y'all. Anyway, so I prefer to create rooted hair babies. Number 7, do you have your own reborn collection? If yes, are they only reborned by you, or do you also collect other people's creations? Yes, I do have a collection. That's what you've been looking at for the most part during this. The ones that are not in my collection are Solomon, which is the Saskia kit, Asriel. They've both been adopted, as has my Tink, which her name is Lucy Ray. And then over here, Azrea has been adopted. The rest are my collection, and all but 2 of them were painted by me. So I have my Genevieve down here, which is the Fridolin kit. She was painted by Letha Melman. And then and then this is Adelia. She was painted by Judy Bloyer of Bloyer Babies. Hi, Judy. And so those 2 are not painted by me. And then I painted Abigail, who is, I always forget her sculpt name. She was my class kit. This is a Marita Winters baby, and I always want to call her Sky. Sydney. That's Sydney by Marita Winters. And then I have Queen Isabella here is Lillian by Gudrun Legler. And then Saffron and Sapphira are both the Heavenly kits by Nicole Russell. And then Malachi over here, he is the Grayson Sculpt by Bonnie Brown. And Zipporah down here is the Raleigh kit by Marita Winters. Vijanier is the Wilma Sculpt by Carola Wegerich. Did I say, I don't know if I said this is Genevieve is Fridolin by Carola Wegerich. And then Zolani is the Tegan by Laura Lee Eagles. Those are my collection babies, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yes, I have 10 babies in my current collection, and I have several keeper kits in my stash. Number 8. Have you been a prototype artist? If yes, how did that come about? If no, do you have the desire? I have not been a prototype artist. Do I have the desire? I would like at some point to do a prototype, but I don't want to only do prototypes. Again, I feel the stress of doing that. I've watched several artists who start getting prototypes, and then that's all they end up doing, and they don't have... And they do have free reign pretty much. They get to create what they want, but it's that time. There's a time crunch of usually 2 or 3 weeks that they have to get them done, because it's their photographs that are used on the COAs and to market the kits. And so there's that pressure. And I know a lot of sculptors seem to choose the same prototype artists, and I've seen several people end up like leaving the business and stuff because it just becomes too much pressure. And or not leaving the business, like stop doing prototypes, and they go back to painting, you know, customs or just free painting because it becomes too much. I wish the sculptors would spread it out a bit more and not always choose the same prototype artists, because I think there are so many phenomenal artists in the industry who are overlooked. And I think that if they would choose different... Now, that would take a lot of work on their behalf. They would have to constantly be studying all the artists to choose. So I realize why it's just easier to go with what you know, but I think it does narrow, you know, the ability to be a prototype artist. But I've entered a couple contests, like the Ivy Jane I painted. Hey, Chiquita! She's Ivy Jane's mommy. When you purchase that kit, if you painted her by a certain date, and you had like 8 or 9, maybe even almost a year, you could enter into win a prototype contest for one of Melody Hess's next kits. And I've done that with another baby. Who was it? Anyway, and so I'll enter those because it's just a one-off. If you win, you paint their next prototype. You're not like having 40 different sculptors approach you with, I need this baby painted kind of thing. So yeah, I would do it in that regard, you know, one here, one there, but I don't want to be like a prototype artist exclusively. Number 9, do you like working in silence with TV on or music? And if you could only choose one of these 3 things, 3 things, TV on or, that's only 2 things, TV, music. Okay, I'm not sure what the silence. Duh. Silence is the 3rd thing. If you could only choose one of those 3 things and stick with it from now on, what would it be? I kind of do all. I can work in silence. I also do love music of all different genres. I do tend to use my painting time to watch YouTube videos or documentaries. My old laptop I used to be able to put discs into, and I loved listening to book on CD, but my newer laptop does not have that. But I have found there are lots of books on CD here on YouTube, and I believe it was Amanda who told me that, so thank you, Amanda. And so I will listen to book on CD now. So I like to have something generally going, but sometimes I just start and get busy, and an hour or two passes and I realize that it's just my thoughts. I've not had anything on, and I'm okay with that as well. I don't typically watch TV. Occasionally when I root, I will, because I root upstairs. I don't have a television down here. As I said, one day last week when I was working on Asriel, I did watch the Christmas special for the new season of Call the Midwife. And when that whole season goes up, I will be watching that while I root. But unless I have something to watch, I don't just put the TV on just for background noise or anything. And if I had to choose one of them, I will just say my computer, because on there I can watch videos and listen to books. I don't, yeah. Number 10, what are your other hobbies? I love to travel. I love photography very, very much. I love reading. I haven't been doing writing a lot, but I do like writing as well. I love to crochet. I did recently pull out my cross stitching. I haven't tried yet because it got harder for me to see the Aida cloth, but now I have bifocals, so I've been wondering if I'd be able to do it, especially now that I have my outlight. I pulled out my project I had been working on that got a little too hard with my eyesight changing, but I have not. But I do love to cross stitch. I love to cook and bake. Cleaning. I know that sounds really stupid, but I love to clean. Organizing. I cannot be in chaos. I have to always be organized. Matter of fact, this morning, I don't know why I never did this before. I keep kit lists, like lists of people who are interested in a kit when I paint it. That's what I meant by that. On a notice board out where I paint. And of course, in the beginning it was 1 and then 2. Now the notice board is covered. So names just went up there on Post-its as I got them. And today I thought, you know what, I'm going to alphabetize those. So I took them all down, put them in alphabetical order, and put them all back up there. So I'm always trying to even organize my organization. So I would consider organizing a hobby, because I'm always organizing something. Well, not always, but I try. I'm constantly, anyway. Let's see, what other hobbies do I have? I used to horseback ride. I haven't for a couple years. I love to horseback ride, but I don't do it enough to consider it a hobby right now. But my favorite thing is travel, and whether it's a road trip, one state over or the other side of the states, or if I'm flying to another country, I love, love, love everything about travel. So yeah, that's my biggest hobby, I would say. I think that was all the questions. Let me just step back here to my computer and look. Yeah. So yeah, I love all those things. I'm trying to think if there's any other hobbies I have. I mean, there's things I used to do that I don't really do that much anymore, so I'll just stop. I guess I'll stop there. So thank you so very much for this very fun tag. I hope everybody enjoyed listening to my answers. If you are an artist and would like to participate, please do. Again, there'll be a link down below to Mia Maria's channel. Well, that's not her name, but that's her channel name. Mia Maria's Nursery, is it? Sorry. Mia Maria's Nursery. And she actually has a video where she explains why her nursery's named that. So, and I think she does in her tag as well, because it's one of the questions. But she has it in more detail in another video. So anyway, there's Sweet Hattie Girl. Isn't she a beautiful kit? This leg reminds me of a very chubby version of Saoirse, because Saoirse has this wrinkly knee, but her leg is more, I call it a chicken leg. It's much skinnier than this. But she's a lot of fun to paint. She's a beautiful, beautiful kit. Again, she's at least 4 or 5 years old. She's an older kit. But she's so beautiful. I actually bought this kit at the North Carolina Doll Show when I took my painting class. So I've had this kit for almost 4 years. But it was finally her time. She was so patient, weren't you, darling? I love her face. She's like dreaming about something, and I want to know what it is. But she's not telling us. All right, everybody. I'm going to have our little babies that are waiting to go home send some love to their mommies. Hi, Mommy. And this little sweet boy actually will be leaving on Monday. So he sends a quick love to his mommy. He'll be in Mommy's arms next week. And then this sweet little Lucy Ray sends some love into her mommy. And we're going to go over here now. This could be a little challenge because we're going to disrupt the queen a little bit. But she'll be good, won't you, queen? Hi, Mommy. Oh, she's so sweet. All right, everybody. Do have a blessed rest of your day. And remember, stop today and find something to be joyful about, because there is always something to be joyful about. Have a blessed day, everybody. Thank you for stopping by.